What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk to you about the top things to avoid as a guy in your 20s, okay? These are things that I have experienced the negative effects of, and over time I have come to the conclusion that trying to minimize the impact these things have on your life is generally a good thing. This is off the cuff, so there may be other things that I miss, but these are some things that come to mind for me. Okay, the first one is going to be alcohol. All right, I think that everybody kind of knows that consuming too much alcohol is bad, but if you are able to completely eliminate alcohol, I really think that you will be able to level up in your early 20s especially. Okay? I think alcohol is a part of a lot of guys' lives in their early 20s and in college or in high school or whatever. And, to a degree that's fine when you don't have that much going on, but once you become an adult and once you graduate college, your career and your skills being leveled up and all these things require a lot of focus, okay? And drinking even on like a Friday can have lasting effects on your mind through to like the following Monday, especially as you get older than like 25, okay? I find now that in my life right now at 29, it takes me like 2-3 days to get over a hangover, okay? And I just can't afford that hit to my productivity. Not to mention that alcohol is estrogenic. It does not promote muscle hypertrophy. So if you want to get huge and you're drinking, like that's just you're leaving so many gains on the table, especially in those prime years of your 20s when you're like you have the most energy, you have the most ability to build muscle. You do not want to waste that away on drinking because it is harder to quit in your older years with anything, harder to quit alcohol or harder to quit any addiction the longer that you cement that pathway in your mind. And you're not going to build muscle as easily in those older years. Okay, so from the purpose of pure muscle building alone, alcohol is not good. So if you want to get huge and you want to be fit, you should not be consuming alcohol. I get it. Like I drink from time to time, but I try to minimize it like as much as possible. And I find that especially nowadays, people are more amenable to not consuming alcohol at like social events and things like that. Like I think people get it a little more. All the stuff about like, oh, a glass of wine at night is good for you. That's all been debunked. And I think that's getting to be more well known now that like no alcohol is always better than any incremental amount of alcohol. So I think it's being generally more accepted. I would say I stopped drinking at like work events and I stopped drinking like on most weekends. There's probably like maybe one weekend a month where I will consume alcohol, like maybe a couple drinks or something like that. I don't remember the last time I got like blackout plastered drunk. Okay. That is just like, you're going to totally, your productivity is going to be shot for the next week after that. And as a young guy who's like in their highest leverage years of their life, you simply cannot afford that. Okay. I mean, I would rather you start like incorporating some leisurely drinking like in your later years than in these early years where you can really put the pedal to the metal with like increasing your skills, making money, and like really propelling yourself in life. These are like critical years and you don't want to waste them drinking. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is video games. Okay, I play video games. I played video games all through my life. And to be quite honest with you, it is something where like I try to minimize it and like sometimes I just can't. Okay, I got a GameCube when I was 8 years old. All right, that's how old I am. That is the thing that came out before the Nintendo Wii. Okay, so that's like how long I've been playing video games. I started with the GameCube. I got the Wii. I got the Xbox, and I played PC games. Like, dude, I was so addicted to League of Legends, to Call of Duty, Halo, everything, man. Like, I was so addicted. It sucked in so many hours of my time. And I cannot even, like, that is a huge regret that I have. I can't even fathom, like, the amount of productive things that may have come if I did not waste all of my time on video games. The other problem with video games is that they give you a false sense of progress, okay? So it feels really good to level up. Like in Call of Duty, you proceed, you're like, oh, I'm making progress. And it's hard to, or even worse, League of Legends, when you're ranking up and you're like grinding in a very high skill environment and then you start making it into these higher ranks, you're like, oh, I'm making progress. And that makes it hard to put the game down. Like it makes it hard to uninstall or quit. And then you quit and you're like, why did I just waste all of that time, right? Like the second that you quit, it dawns on you that it was all for nothing, okay? So video games giving you that false sense of progression that makes it so that it is harder for you to achieve, to have a sense of achievement and progression in real life things, because they take much longer than the things in video games do. Okay, because video games are designed to continue give you a continual drip of that dopamine from that progress, whereas real life doesn't care whether you feel accomplished or not. You just have to do the thing, right? So a lot of people, I think, who are addicted to video games in their younger years, they give up on things too quickly because they're used to getting that like sense of accomplishment and achievement continually, and life simply doesn't give you that when you're trying to achieve things. Like a lot of times you're just doing things over and over and over with no result, and that is not the case in video games, but it is the case in real life. The other thing, as an example with video games, I had a friend who we would play League of Legends together like all the time. And like that just became like a thing that we did. And this was in like my early 20s, probably like 23, 24 years old. We decided that we were going to stop playing video games because we wanted to do other stuff with our time. I started doing like personal training, and he like started his own like software business with that extra time. And now he's making like 10 to 30K a month, and he's just like killing it because we decided to like quit video games and make that decision, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if he would even recognize that, but to me it was pretty clear where that came from. The third thing that you should avoid as a young guy, and I know that these first two have already been painful, but this third one I think is probably gonna be even more painful. The third thing you should avoid is whores at the gym, okay? And you know who I'm talking about. It's those girls who they wear those outfits where it's like a tiny sports bra with a matching pair of shorts that gets like shoved up their butt crack, and you can like see literally everything. And then they put the tripod on the gym floor and they're like doing RDLs into the camera with the camera like low and up, okay? Like I know that you've seen these people at the gym. Stay away from them, okay? There is nothing good that comes from engaging with these girls. They are a temptress, as it were. And like, it can be exhilarating and exciting to try to approach girls at the gym. You know, I've done that, and it is very exciting. But think about it this way. If that girl was your girlfriend, would you be okay with what she was wearing and what the vibe she was giving off if she was at the gym and you guys were dating, right? And some of you might say like, oh, well, like maybe they're single, and so that, you know, that doesn't play. If they were in a relationship, they wouldn't dress like that. I'm telling you, I have seen girls who like I see what they're wearing, and I'm like it's not like I'm like staring, but like I see what they're wearing, and I'm like, we're at a public place. What are you doing? And then I see some guy like come up next to them, and like I realize that they're like boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm like, bro, you're really okay with your girl wearing that in public? What what is this? Like what? Stay away from those girls, okay? There is no good that comes from that. They might be nice, but like if you're wearing something like that, in my opinion, there is a reason, and they're gonna tell you, oh, it's just for me. I like it's comfortable. You can be comfortable without a neon pink like pair of underwear as your outfit, okay? My girl would never wear that in the gym in public. She will wear like sweatpants and sweatshirt, which, you know, I'm not saying everyone has to do that. She'll also wear like a sports bra and like the biker shorts, but they're not the ones that get shoved up your literal butt crack, okay? And it's not the sports bras that are like your entire back is like naked, okay? And it's like two triangles. So stay away from those girls because they are nothing but trouble, okay? You do not want to get involved. Think about it this way. Let's say that you go up to one of these girls and then she goes out with you. Maybe all you want to do is sleep with her, right? Let's say that you don't consider her as like a long-term relationship option, and I don't think you should based on these signals. Like that would be a huge red flag for me if a girl dressed like that in public, and it should be for you too. Let's say that you just want to sleep with her, okay? How many other guys do you think that she has lined up based on her like projecting, using her looks to like kind of signal to the world that like trying to get this attention? She probably says yes to maybe a small percentage, but the volume is so big that it still stacks up. And in my opinion, the risk of sleeping with someone like that, like STD risk, is not worth it, okay? And plus, you don't want to be doing that stuff anyways. You don't want to be sleeping around anyways, okay? So stay away from that. The last thing that you should stay away from, in my opinion, and this is probably the biggest one, is porn, okay? Now, I will have to like censor the word, I think, but wreaks havoc on your mind in ways you cannot understand, okay? And there are consequences to viewing these things. There are consequences to every sexual action that you take as a guy. Everything that you do sexually and in life with like non-sexually, everything that you do is cementing a pattern in your mind, okay? So like if you're like a gooner who's like, looking at five tabs at one time of like this like super quick hitting like, super graphic stuff, that is going to make it so that you cannot have like a regular intimate relationship in the future, and you are going to feel so like it is one of the worst feelings having that come to fruition when you're like with a girl and then, it doesn't happen. I mean, you catch what I'm saying, right? And that will happen to you if you are looking at that stuff regularly. So whatever you do, like, it's not like alcohol where it's like, oh, it's okay every now and again or whatever. I think with this topic, just cut it out completely. Stay far away. Don't even allow this into your life. Pretty much everybody has it in their life right now. And, that's unfortunate and a result of, I think, just how our society's gone. Like most guys they've been exposed very early in life. But if you can help it, the earlier that you can cut that stuff out, the better. Okay. And you will thank yourself down the line when you like are with you have your girlfriend or whatever, your wife, and like, you don't have that baggage of like all these mental pathways that have been forged from this highly stimulating material. You will thank yourself so much compared to if you are looking at that stuff. One, you might still be addicted. And two, like regular intimacy isn't going to do it for you at that point. And so then you're like just this like dopamine junkie who like can't even find excitement from real life, So, out of all of them, I'd say that one is like the number one. There are so many detrimental effects to having that in your life that it's totally not worth it. And not to mention like the negative effects on society and all this stuff and like the fakeness and just it's not good. It is not like the way that God intended us to have our sexuality, right? So keep that out of your life. Anything else? I think those are the top 4 things that come to mind. So if you can like keep those things to a minimum or out of your life completely, I think you'll be setting yourself up for success and making room for like very good things to fill that space in your life, especially as a young 20-something guy when you have like all this potential ahead of you. Every decision you make at this time in your life compounds over time much more than if you made this decision like in your 50s, right? Because there's that much more time for it to cement pathways in your mind, and it's that much more time for the choices that you make to compound over time, right? You make a good choice now, that good choice leads to more good choices, which leads to more good choices. But the same is also true about bad choices, right? And you have a long runway ahead of you to let those choices play out in your life. So try to minimize the bad things, try to maximize the good things, and you will be off to a great start for your adult life. All right, peace.